Welcome to Upstream Tech60. In this episode we will cover agent procedures, something we call Upstream Power Pack. We are dividing this session into two parts. One where we are demonstrating the current Power Pack, and one part where we put on our propeller hats and discuss what to do in terms of current development and future development of Power Pack. The second part will be in Swedish, so that will not be distributed within the community as a video. Okay, Upstream Power Pack, what is it? It's basically it's a framework for best practices in Kaseya, and we are focusing on both agent procedures, and we are focusing on views, monitor sets, event log sets, and so on. Everything that can be utilized in Kaseya can be customized into a standard. And this standard we are delivering is something we have done for years. It started up as a sales tool primarily to you customers who are starting to use Kaseya. But now, during the last 2 years, it has been a free tool, always evolving, always refining. And we would like to jumpstart the community by asking you what should be our future focus on Upstream Power Pack. So let's start by demoing the current Power Pack we do have. We have some ground rules, some standards when it comes to Power Pack. I would just to establish those first so we are all aware of them. We have a defined naming standard. As you can see in the screenshot you have here, you can see we have a defined naming standard, and we have always done this during the years because it's better to have a naming standard, and it's also easy for any newbies in Kaseya to understand what the procedures do. We are focusing on easy to use, easy to understand, and by that we mean always be documented. The scripts will always be documented within each of the scripts, step by step. First of all, the distribution part. For now we have a mailing list, and this mailing list will include news and updates within the Power Pack to all our customers. We have separate kinds of distributions. For instance, the most recurring updates are always within agent procedures, and these can be exported as an XML file just by pressing a folder and export as a folder. And by this we can distribute the file to you guys without the need for any third-party software or any complicated routine. It's very simple to import from the agent procedures. Just mark the root shared folder and select the XML file to import. That's all. We are distributing this via a Dropbox system. It's because it's easy to do, and it's a quite a good service. We also have some standards when it comes to the customization. We do not use any local files. It means that everything within the Power Pack is distributed from the internet. So you don't have to upload any installers or any applications, just to keep it simple and to keep it fast in terms of distribution. We have a click and run standard. Click and run to just import a script and click and run. For instance, Adobe Flash Player should not be configured in any way. Just click and run. and it will grab the current Adobe Reader on the web, on the FTP site of Adobe, and update the machine I just specified. And of course, as I talked about before, naming standards. Even though it's new content within the scripts, for instance, a heavily updated script is always the Adobe Reader versions. Even though there are new content within the script, it will always be named the same. So currently we are running 10.1 and an update to 10.1.1. The next release would be, I think it will be 10.1.2, and it will always add a new row. That's all. So the same name will always be visible, and the same script will always be visible. Not to build up any confusion. We have divided the applications, we have divided the agent procedures in several categorized folders. We have the applications folder. We have the audit folder. This is an extension of the current audit. Maybe you should look for certain kind of entries in the registry or services running or not. So you can do a remediation of the current behavior of the machines. We have a management section. We have a security section, mostly giving example of current out-of-band Microsoft patches or tips and tricks how to manipulate the registry to do a certain kind of security hack. And we have user experience. User experience are focusing on giving you the tools to give your customers the most smooth delivery of things. It can be, for instance, clean up the auto updates on the desktop for a couple of applications. It could be sending a link to the customer to the default web browser, or just send a message to the user. If we just dive into one of the scripts, we can take the Flash reader we just talked about. It's always configured like this. We have a naming standard. We have the steps fully documented. And we always clean up after ourselves, because these scripts will always grab the content from the net and download the content to the local machine that will be updated. So afterwards we are done, we always clean up after ourselves, delete the downloaded files. And the most important part, we write a human readable text string in the procedure log for easy reporting. Take a look at the procedure properties. We always have this standard available. We have a proper description of the script. We have a Kaseya customer value, that's your part. What is the value for you guys to run this script on a customer? We have the end user value. What is your motivation to your customers why you should run this script? You have a dependency, if there are any. Mostly it's Windows based, or maybe a Linux script could pop up, or maybe it's you have to have a certain kind of software installed to make this script runnable. And usage, run at any given time in this case, and a quick notification that the installer would actually close the running web browser without notification, just for you to know. And the most important part is how to track this, how to report this. We have a description how to report upon this agent procedure, so you can visualize this for your customer, what you have done. And this is a precaution, of course, but we do, of course, back up this solution within Upstream. So support is given by default within this Power Pack. So I will drill down a couple of features here just to give you some inspiration about what you can do with the current agent procedures we do have. First of all, Adobe Flash Player is one of them. I think it's the 21st today. Yes. And today Adobe notified their users via RSS feeds and news groups that they will update the Flash Reader once more. The Flash Reader is constantly battered when it comes to security. So a tip here to actually run the Flash Player currently, for instance, each Wednesday, perhaps, on all of the user base. This will not affect in any kind or any way the performance of your customers. You can schedule a procedure weekly on Wednesdays, perhaps, or on Sundays out of office time, every once a week, maybe at early morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and a distribution window of 1 hour per customer, per organization. This will actually benefit you to be sure that the latest Adobe Flash Player is up and running on the machine without you to do a manual lookup in the agent procedures every time it's released. So just make this a self-running procedure every once a week. It's a tip. Of course, it will close the current web browser without any notification to the customer. But if we do it on a time where most of our customers won't actually use the machines, it will run instantly the next time the machine boot up, because we do not have this option checked. The script will actually run the next time the machine boot up. It can be on a Monday morning then. So that's one way to do it. I would like to highlight the Adobe Reader as well, because this is something that's always, all of the Adobe products are always battered actually when it comes to security. The latest version 10.1.1 is, I think it was released last Tuesday, and the important part here is they have removed the DigiNotar SSL certificates from the Adobe Reader as well, because if you follow the news the latest weeks, it has been a quite big news that DigiNotar has been hacked and faulty certificates has been issued and are in the wild. So they have removed that, and they have done a couple of other bug fixes, and the easy part here is this script will just update. It will take it will be no consequences to current base. It will just update. If there are the latest, nothing will happen. If you have an older version, the older version will be removed and updated. So it's quite a slim script, And we are focusing on not doing this any complicated, because as you can see, we are limiting ourselves in the if and else statements. We do not have any complicated, what if it's a 32-bit system, what if it's a 64-bit system. We're always focusing on the 32-bit applications in this case. If there are any special needs for 64-bit, it will be, of course, acted upon, but otherwise it's always 32-bit when it comes to software. That's two main parts of application distribution. Of course, we have the Java engine as well, the runtime engine. It's up in 6.27, I think, in this version, and it will be upgraded to 7.0 in any day now. And here you can see we have divided into two parts. We have 32-bit and we have 64-bit, depending on what your needs are. We are slowly building up the application pool, and this is where your propeller hats are coming good in hand afterwards this session, because I would like to have feedback in what kind of software do you need, what kind of software are heavily utilized out in the customer base. So we are leaving the application part, we are going to the audit part. The audit itself, in this case, is just a couple of samples of how you can do things. I can highlight the get page file size script. What this does is getting the current page file settings from the registry and put it in the agent procedure log. This will basically make it reportable upon any machine what are the current page file. If you go to the management section, it's rather small at this moment, but this is an example of how to do an initial deployment. If you take a look at that procedure, we can see that it's a chained procedure. It will actually call upon other current procedures within the PowerPack. For instance, it can be a defined standard for every customer that they will always have these applications up to date, or when a new machine arrives to a customer, you can run this to deploy the current application base. And this can be, of course, this is only templates. Please bear in mind, you can always make a save as and change it to whatever you need, and use that as a template to work upon and customize that. We have a security section, and it used to be bigger actually, but many of the features we did have were only covering some KHB articles that were not within the patch cycle yet, so it was out of band patches, so to speak, and MSI fixes. If you are aware of the Microsoft site Fix-It, it's pre-patch fixes, so to speak. So mostly of those tips are how to fix the problem before it gets fixed. It's a quite humorous term, but fix the problem before it gets fixed by Microsoft itself. So here we will always update with the latest information about how to secure the machines when the updates are not currently within Windows Update. In this case, we have two examples just to prove a point. We can disable a mass storage support. You cannot attach a USB disk, or you can enable it again. Quite a simple script, but very efficient. It will only add a value in the registry, and that's it. The last part is user experience, and here is where the behavior of the customer comes in, and the behavior of the computer actually as well. We have a couple of sample scripts here. The first one I would like to highlight is this one. This is a script that will remove any annoying auto updates and annoying icons on the desktop and so on the Nordic languages of Windows. We are always focusing on the whole Nordic language base on all our procedures. So here is a sample of what we can do, and here also once more, here is where your propeller hats comes in when we are done with this, to give us feedback on what kind of applications would you like to have in this list. What it does is making the user experience for the customer a much more pleasant one. No pop-ups, no annoying update requests. We also have a couple of other features. I can highlight two of them. One is to disable the Action Center pop-up on Windows 7, the annoying Action Center. And one can be to actually send a default web page to a user, both an interactive and a static one. The interactive one is, in this case, can send it to that one. The interactive one means always that you have an input yourself. You have some input. You would like to have this page sent to the customer's default web browser, and it will be sent like this. Spell it correctly. Here we go. That's the interactive part. You have a static part as well. The static part will define a specified web page. In this case, the exact same, but it's a static one. So you can use this sample as a template for your customers. Maybe your customers have a certain kind of intranet site that should always be their start page. You can run this every day or every week or so on the machines. A very quick and fast registry change, nothing heavy at all. So that's some of the components in the Power Pack. I also have an announcement to make about future releases. We have divided the Power Pack into two parts because I described earlier that we are focusing on keeping it simple, no files needed upon distribution, no customization within Kaseya needed upon distribution. But some of your requests have given us a problem with that routine. So we have also developed an Upstream extended Power Pack. This means you have to do changes within Kaseya to actually make these work, and they are of course documented. If you take a look at the audit section here, for instance, extended Power Pack means you have to change something, or you have to upload something to your Kaseya server. In this case, when it comes to audit performance, get Windows Experience Index, you actually have to create your own values in inventory. Take a look at this. Here, this is a script. I think we highlighted this script in early spring when we talked about VMI queries in Kaseya. And this will actually grab the current Windows Experience Index and put it out in the audit tables. This is great for evaluating the performance on the machines, but it won't work just by distributing it because it needs to be customized. We have described this within the script procedure description under properties here. What are needed to run this? As you can see under dependencies, we have to make a couple of fields within the audit named exactly like this and like this. How to do this is, if you go to the audit part in Kaseya, You go to System Information, and here I can select, for instance, my own machine. I can see here, can I select another machine that actually have the values. Here we have something called custom fields, not customer fields, custom fields. As you can see, it's defined values we have for a purpose. In this case, we have the different kind of scores within the Windows Experience Index, much like you saw earlier when I described the dependencies. And you can also, if you like, put the page file settings I described earlier from the script pack here as well. But you have to create these, and you create these by clicking on New Custom Field, and create a new field. I can create a Tech60 field, and I will select a string value for that, plain text. Oh, sorry, it already exists. Yeah, of course. Here you have it. I've already created it. Okay, so that's what you need. So basically, two parts when it comes to scripting. PowerPack, always up to date when it comes to security updates and current applications. Do not need any prerequisites, just run and click and run, I mean, just click and run. And the extended PowerPack, where it comes to where the need for customizations are met. You have to actually set up values within Kaseya or upload files to the Kaseya system to make it work. But it will always be documented how to do the actual customization. Okay, I think that covers the Upstream PowerPack when it comes to agent procedures, and I will leave this session now in English. Thank you.